Why, the polar bear is a close relative of the brown bear. They are descended from common ancestors who lived only 150,000 years ago. For species evolution, this is very recent. The brown bear hibernates very well in winter, while the polar bear sleeps in a den in summer. In fact, does the polar bear have dens? No. As strange as it may seem, they almost never sleep. That is, they sleep fine, as in the summer, only in summer they usually sleep more. But in winter they do not fall asleep. It would be more correct to call it winter sleep, since bears do not fall true sleep, as their body temperature never drops, and they can wake up any time. Only pregnant and nursing female bears go into winter sleep. The rest of the polar bears, if they lie in their dens, only for a short time and not every year. The main food of polar bears is seals. These are the seals. They are hunted by polar bears on the ice. They either snatch the seal with their paw from the hole in the ice, through which the seal is breathing, or they catch and grab the seals, which came out on the ice to rest. In many areas of the Arctic where polar bears live, the ice melts almost completely by the end of summer. They can no longer hunt seals. On land, most Arctic animals are able to escape from the polar bear, and in the sea to swim away from him. It's good if they manage to find a dead whale or a walrus on the shore. And if not, then in late summer and autumn bears sometimes starve for several months. So in winter they don't sleep, but start hunting again as soon as the ice appears. But female bears have nowhere to go, they have to lie down in their dens. For polar bear cubs, as well as other bears, are born small, their weight is less than 1 kilogram, and blind, they are covered only with short cubs. Usually females make a den on the shore, sometimes 50 kilometers from the seashore. As a rule, she makes her den in a snow dune, but if there is little snow, she may dig a hole in the frozen ground. The female lies in the den just when the ice melts, and it becomes difficult to hunt. The cubs are usually born in November and January, and stay in the den until February-March. Before she gives birth to cubs, the bear does mostly sleep, but during the birth she wakes up, and after giving birth she has to sleep less. But she is still in a state of winter sleep until she leaves the den. She doesn't eat, drink, pee or poop. So how does the female manage to accumulate nutrients for her long sleep and to nurse her cubs? And there are usually 2 of them. It turns out that mating in polar bears takes place in spring in April or May. Immediately after mating, pregnant females start to feed so intensively that by the autumn they become 200 kilograms heavier, sometimes almost doubling their weight. At the same time, the development of embryos in the bear's belly in spring stops at an early stage and continues only in autumn. Until then they are in a state of rest, which is called embryonic diapause in scientific jargon. Apparently, this allows the bears to adjust the beginning of embryo development to the time of burrowing. After all, this time strongly depends on conditions in the area and even on the weather in a given year. It is not very clear why all polar bears do not eat in the same way. But for some reason they do not. It is interesting that, apparently, at any time of the year when starving for a long time, polar bears sort of sleep on the go. The concentration of urea in their blood drops dramatically, which is typical of other bear species during hibernation. Bears are able to use urea to synthesize amino acids and plasma, liquid, blood proteins. The concentration of proteins in the plasma must be as constant as possible, otherwise there are various problems with fluid transport and metabolism in the body. Also, the lower the urea content, the less you need to excrete it in your urine, which means less to drink. Although water in the form of snow is usually readily available in the Arctic, it is not energetically profitable to drink, or rather eat, it. A lot of energy is lost for its warming. If the brown bear's urea concentration decreases, he becomes lethargic, no longer wants to eat, and falls asleep. But the polar bear, if it has food, starts eating again and raises its urea concentration to normal levels. It is interesting that during the period of winter sleep, the polar bear somehow manages to lose almost no bone or muscle mass. Usually in humans and other animals, their mass decreases sharply during prolonged immobility. Even when there is food, the mass of bones and muscles also decreases in other species of bears during sleep. But polar bears. Consume almost only fat. It turns out that in some respects polar bears are more adapted to winter sleep.